um, especially over the last few years, um, the anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion rhetoric has just grown sort of like a crescendo in music. And I think the reason, when you look at history, at least U.S. history and other countries as well, because there's issues around diversity, equity, inclusion in all countries. But when you look at history, when there's been a time in history where there's been a rise in social activism, whether they be the 1960s Civil Rights Act or apartheid in Africa or whatever. Um, Whenever there's been a rise in social activism, what usually follows the next few years is this rise in conservatism. So it's sort of like the pendulum swings, right? Back and forth and back and forth. And so that's what we've seen. And so after the murder of George Floyd in 2020 and Breonna Taylor and the civil unrest that happened there, we gradually started to see 22, 23, 24, this rise in this um, conservatism. So the anti-DE&I rhetoric, you started seeing that raise its head, and then culminating in the this administration as well, and some of the things that were done and continue to be done around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so when I say it's not a dirty word, it people became fearful of it. People, corporations, leaders, different organizations became fearful of it, and they started really saying, okay, well, we can't say that word or we can't do this because thinking that it was in some way illegal, even. And it wasn't illegal. Equity is not illegal. What was illegal, diversity, equity, and inclusion practices before January of this year were also illegal after January of this year. There's no changes in the law from that perspective. And so, but what has happened is this from a cultural political sense of attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so we have to be very clear around the law, which is the Civil Rights Act, and also sort of the misinformation and also the strategic disinformation that has done purposeful disinformation that has been put out there as well around it. And so I wanted to write the book to say we need to get a voice out there, not a voice, but continue the voices, because there are certainly voices out there, but voices out there that are very clear around what it is, what it isn't, and why when we get it right, everyone will win. It's
Yeah.
not something that just benefits one group over another. Everyone will win if we can put the right strategy in place that allows us to get to ultimately an inclusive society, an inclusive organization, et cetera. Truly
Wow.
inclusive.
Truly inclusive. Everyone